All right, guys, how's it going? It is time for another exclusive. Right, must be an exclusive because it's in big capital letters there. Now, this headline is very clickable, right? And what I mean by that is it's like, it would certainly lure you in, I think. I do go looking for exclusives every day to review them for you. But I think this would definitely reel in a lot of people. Now, it's published on Football Insider, which I can tell you is a terrible outlet. So my mind's made up already before I've even read it. If you are not aware of the reputation of certain websites, what I do, if I stumble on a new website overseas, for example, I judge it by the amount of advertising. Right, see how the adverts are popping up here all the time. If you're on a mobile device, you're probably going to struggle to read this, or if I start scrolling the page. Now, the reason I do that is because what other incentive is them to get you to the website, right? So if you're reading an exclusive on a website with very little advertising, then I'm thinking, well, why are they lying? There's no reason to mislead me. And I find that the more adverts usually means the more bullshit. So I'm going to go over this article with you. I can't read it all out to you, but there it is if you want to Google it yourself to see if I've been unfair with anything. I just leave out, filler, if you like, and we'll focus on the exclusive claims. Afterwards, I'm going to give you Dave's analysis, and Dave is my AI assistant that's been trained to study football news articles, the journalists that write them, and the platforms, websites, newspapers that push them on us, all right? And he will give his assessment as well. All right. So, and he's been trained for about a year. It's not a case of just throwing it at AI. It's very clever. Exclusive. Liverpool discuss sensational Steven Gerrard interim appointment. Now, before I go any further, hang around because I did receive an email about Steven Gerrard and this kind of thing. I will explain that to you a little bit later in this video. Okay, so it's by Wayne Vasey, all right, for Football Insider. We'll get to who Wayne is and who Football Insider is in a short while. Liverpool are considering appointing Steven Gerrard as interim manager in a sensational new manager twist. Sources, do you smell that? Pure bullshit. I've told Football Insider, you might believe it. It talks about the owners weighing up potential alternatives, which is believable, all right, and something that will be happening. Amid growing doubts over whether he, Arne Slot, can turn around the team's fortune. Sources say Gerrard's name is believed to have been internally discussed at Liverpool as one possibility, with the idea that he could take over until the end of the season. In that scenario, a permanent manager would be appointed next summer, when there will be a bigger pool of managers to choose from. Common sense thinking here. Common sense thinking. So if it's common sense, it would be easy to craft an exclusive claiming such. Then there's a sub-headline, Liverpool cost of dismissing Slot revealed. Basically, that's saying that it is believed it would cost the Merseyside Giants over £8 million if they took the nuclear option of dismissing Slot. That's not been revealed. That's well documented. We've discussed it before on here. I certainly wasn't the first person to mention it. It came out from Arne Slot's homeland, I believe. Talks about Liverpool only winning 3 of their last 14 matches. Blah, blah, blah. Next sub-headline, you don't need to hear all that guff, all right? Gerrard could be set to achieve his dream. Some of them are double and some of them are singular. It's interesting. Jamie Carragher suggested that Gerrard would likely make his return to manager in the Championship, following a similar path to the one Frank Lampard is paving at Coventry City. Gerrard turned down the chance to return to Rangers. Blah, blah, blah. Speaking during his playing days, the midfielder confessed that it is his dream to take charge over his beloved Reds. The dream come true would be to manage Liverpool when the Liverpool job becomes available. Gerrard once said. There are world-class managers there ready already, but we'll have to wait and see. It would be the icing on the cake. That's the article, to be honest with you. That is the exclusive article. Now, the only bits I've left out is the bits to do with dismissing slot and statistics and things like that. So the exclusive is piss poor. All right, I'm not really sure what the exclusive is. I mean, I guess it's claimed, isn't it, that it's been discussed internally as one possibility as an interim manager, which I think is very easy to predict. Some of you might think, nah, I won't be doing that because he's had it and miss experience as a manager. I disagree completely with that. Steven Gerrard has an immense connection to Liverpool Football Club and immense respect. And just because it might not have worked somewhere else doesn't mean it wouldn't work at Liverpool. And if it works somewhere else like Rangers, it doesn't necessarily mean it will work at Liverpool. We get that. Every appointment, every signing is a gamble. It either will or won't work. Unless you try, you'll never know in life. So for me, believe it or not, I wouldn't be against the idea of Steven Gerrard coming in as an interim manager because it gives you the option of, not committing to a full-time, a permanent appointment. So he was only the interim. Do you know what I mean? And then it's kind of like you've got a few months to make it your job like that. Now, this, of course, is an exclusive. We don't know whether we want to believe this yet, do we? Well, I'll let on a little secret. When I see Football Insider, I never believe it immediately. However, you might say, well, why are you going over it? Why are you telling us if you don't believe it? Well, because I can assure you people will be discussing this all over the place, and a lot of people won't say where it's come from. All right? So I'm looking out for you. So let's see what Dave's got to say, and I'm going to tell you about an email I received about Steven Gerrard. What is this article actually claiming? Core exclusive bit is basically one sentence. Sources say Gerrard's name is believed to have been internally discussed at Liverpool as one possibility, with the idea that he could take over until the end of the season. Strip away the drama and it's FSG are considering alternatives to slot, which is vague. Gerrard's name has been discussed internally as a possible interim until the end of the season. Slot would be sacked at a cost of over £8 million. There's no breakdown, it's just a number. And like I say, that number is already widely reported. No talks with Gerrard, no offer, no Liverpool want Gerrard, just his name has been mentioned as one possibility. And then Dave says here, which as you rightly said, this is me because I speak to Dave, could be anything from a serious boardroom debate to someone floated it in the canteen over a coffee. Who is Wayne Vasey and how much weight does he carry? This is the journalist, right? If you don't know, should you be paying attention to him? I mean, if it was Joyce at the time as writing this, we'd be fucking, whoa, wouldn't we? Wayne Vasey, long-time football journalist, now Football Insider's main senior correspondent stroke editor. He's not some random kid on a blog. He's been around years, but he's operating inside the Football Insider ecosystem, which is built on heavy use of unnamed sources, sensational transfer style framing, lots of edging closer set to shock twist language, which we've seen in this article. He's not a Joyce or an Ornstein level operator. He plays in that grey area between information and entertainment, and Football Insider likes living in that grey. Football Insider, click-driven site, big on exclusives and sources say content, regular pattern, a small plausible claim, wrapped in a huge dramatic headline, padded with context and all quotes to look weighty, which is exactly what that did, didn't it? Steven Gerrard quote from years ago. Hit rate, some stuff lands, a lot quietly disappears into the bin of never mentioned again. So Vasey is at the top of the Football Insider tree, but the tree itself isn't the same forest as the proper heavyweights. The headline versus the article, all right, and this is something that I will say to Dave whenever we analyse anything. Does the headline, the claim, match the content of the article? So the headline is exclusive. Liverpool discuss sensational Steven Gerrard interim appointment. What it promises to a reader is Liverpool hierarchy have seriously considered Gerrard as interim. Suggests a dramatic active scenario, owners lining him up to replace Slot short term. What the article actually provides in the content, Gerrard's name is believed to have been internally discussed as one possibility. No detail on who raised it, how seriously, when, whether it went anywhere beyond that. So technically, the headline matches that one line, but it hides the scale of the claim. Technically is a word that always makes me chuckle. My son Rob, when he was a young boy, whenever he got into trouble, he would go, "Technically, I wasn't lying, Dad." Still smack him round the head. Headline makes it sound like a live plan. The wording in the article could be satisfied by one person in a meeting saying, "What about Gerrard?" and everyone else going, "Nah." That's your classic football insider move. A tiny technical truth blown up to look like a full-on story arc. Hedge language and get-out clauses. This is super imperative, super important to me. Whenever I see an article, even if it is a credible journalist like Paul Joyce or David Ornstein, I look for the get-outs, the hedging or whatever. You won't get hedging really from them, but you've always got to look you've always got to look. You don't just listen to what Joyce and Ornstein say, because sometimes they will publish club propaganda. This bit is absolutely packed with escape hatches. Here's some examples. Liverpool are considering appointing. Owners are weighing up potential alternatives. Gerrard's name is believed to have been internally discussed, which is a double hedge. Believed plus quotes around discussed. Could take over until the end of the season. It is believed that it would cost. Gerrard would likely find it hard to resist a homecoming. Gerrard could be set to achieve his dream, which was a subheading. Old dream quote used with, "We'll have to wait and see." All of that means if it never happens, well, we only said it had been discussed, could happen, was being weighed up. If Gerrard's name really was dropped once in passing, they can say, "See, we told you his name was discussed." It's legally safe and editorially slippery. How much is actually exclusive versus filler? So let's eyeball the word count. Approximately total length of the article is 730 words. Exclusive-ish content, about 90 to 100 words, which is around 13 to 14%. Gerrard's name discussed as interim option. FSG weighing up alternatives to Slot. Cost of sacking Slot over £8 million if their number is right. However, we already know the 8 million figure is out there. Everything else is context or nostalgia dressing. So filler and padding, most of this obviously I didn't touch. About 630 words, which is around 86 to 87% of the article was just shite. Well, it's all shite, but more shite. Liverpool's bad run of results. It was a results recap. Description of the Sunderland game. Reminder that Gerrard is a club legend, has managerial experience, which we know. Carragher quote about him likely returning via the Championship. Coventry Frank Lampard, mention in comparison. Gerrard turning down Rangers. Old Gerrard dream job quote from years ago. So yeah, your instincts right, Dunk. Most of this is filler. The actual exclusive could fit in a paragraph. Is it speculative? Does it contradict itself? This is something that I always look for. Contradictions are very important. Is it speculative? I think I already know the answer to that before asking Dave to review it. Speculative, absolutely. They don't say Liverpool want Gerrard. They don't say talks have started. They don't say he's first choice. They lean heavily on discuss, considering one possibility could take over. It's more like, here's a thing we've heard was mentioned internally and now we're going to build a story around it. Contradictions, not direct, but there's a tonal trick. They frame it as a sensational twist, which this sounds big and imminent. Then they talk about next summer being the time for a permanent boss, bigger pool, etc., which makes it sound more like a generic scenario piece than a real life plan. No explicit X, then not X, but it absolutely shifts from dramatic headline to soft, maybe one-day scenario. Should Liverpool fans pay attention? What I think is plausible, says Dave. FSG and the Liverpool hierarchy will absolutely have talked about what if Slot goes. There's no doubt about it, guys. We've said this on here. Gerrard's name being mentioned in that kind of conversation, that's believable. He's a club legend, he's free and always hovers around any Liverpool manager discussion. Some people think he's doing a bit more media work at the moment. As you said, it could be a canteen chat or a 5-second mention in a meeting. Dave says what I think is not backed up, that this is a serious developed plan, that Gerrard is anywhere near being offered the job, and that this is more than one floated name amongst many. Is it possible Gerrard's name has been mentioned internally? Yes, very possible. It would be weird if it hadn't been. Does this article prove he's close to becoming interim? No, not even close. It proves someone at Football Insider has heard Gerrard's name is being talked about and built a big story around it. Or conjured it up themselves. Some people might think that. Should fans treat it as likely? No. Treat it as Football Insider are claiming Gerrard's name is in the conversation. Let's wait for Joyce or Ornstein or more serious outlets before we take it seriously. Dave's verdict is this is classic Football Insider theatre. A small, technically defensible claim. Gerrard's name has been discussed as a possible interim. Wrapped it in a sensational headline, Liverpool discuss sensational Steven Gerrard interim appointment, padded with almost a full page of all quotes, result recaps and romantic Gerrard nostalgia. Fluff versus substance. 86 to 87% of the article is fluff, with 13 to 14% exclusive claim. Credibility rating plausible, but very thin. It's not as outrageous as some of their nonsense, but it's massively overblown compared to what they've actually got. Football Insider are basically saying someone at Liverpool has mentioned Gerrard's name as a what-if interim, and they've spun that into a sensational twist story. Interesting as a talking point, which I would agree, but nowhere near a credible indication he's about to walk into the dugout. Now, I have a feature on here called The Mail Stand, which I'll be updating today. And I received an email 6 days ago. I don't know what date that would be. Will it tell me if I open it? Yes. It says 29th of November. And I received it at 11:20 local time here. So that's Madrid time, right? So 10:20 in the morning. The reason I read out the times and dates of these things is because if that was an hour after Liverpool just lost a game and someone was making a claim like it could be out of anger or frustration or the same shit where people are going, well, we've lost a game, so that must put him under pressure. So I think it's always important that you listen to the dates and times when I do the Mail Stand, right? Because then you can go, what was happening around then? Yeah? So, for example, there was a recent claim that, was it Nagelsmann had been sounded out or something? Don't know whether you would want to believe that or not, but it was a claim. And that was made, that email came in prior to Liverpool's game that day, just before it. Now, if it had come in after the game, me being me, I'd have thought, well, that's interesting. You know, if we've lost a game, for example, it's very easy to say, you know, Liverpool made an approach today, but it came in before the game. So, things like that matter, I think. And the problem is, this mail stand, well, it's not a mail stand because I couldn't use this email. And it basically says, and I can't read it to you, and it's not very helpful, all right? But it's true. It's what I mean by true is this is real life, right? It's very easy if you're going to make stuff up. I could pretend and make a fucking email up. But the real life situation here is, please keep this to yourself as it is only a rumour. Now, I'm not going to go over what's in this email because I've been told it's only a rumour. Please keep it to yourself. So I can't break someone's trust, right? And even the email in the last paragraph says, it's only a rumour, hence the reason I'm telling you only, right? I can't go over it. Now, I don't know if this is going to match up, but that was the 29th of November at 11:20 a.m. On the Cop Talk X account, I posted this image. You see this? Who's that? Steven Gerrard. Right? And I didn't put any text with that. No eye emojis, no ears emoji, nothing. I put that picture out and only that picture, no text. And if you want me to see up here, but I posted that on November 29th, which is the same date as that email. I shit you not, I did not know that they matched, right? I thought they would, but yeah, November 29th. And I posted that at 2:16 p.m. local time. So 1, 2, 3 hours after I received the email. That's my way of saying I can't talk about something, but what I can do is just put something there, right? So if you look at this image, link it up to the email that I've been told I can't mention to you, and I'll just leave it to your imagination as to what it could mean. Do you know what I mean? Like what someone is claiming. Claiming isn't, a claim is very different to saying exclusive. Do you know what I mean, guys? So what I would say is this, right? The author of that email will probably watch this video, and they're probably going, don't fucking read the email, man. I wouldn't do that. But they might reply to me now and say, you can actually mention that email now because only a rumor is, part of it or whatever is now being discussed. So it takes away exposure from someone maybe, right? In that email, it does not say anything is happening. Remember what it said at the beginning and the end. It's only a rumor, right? Only a rumor. Is that a rumor? They're putting an exclusive on it. They're trying to make it factual or whatever. So could Steven Gerrard be under consideration? Did we hear Remy? Absolutely, of course he could. Absolutely, of course he could. Some of you be like, no, this went wrong. I don't want this. He's not experienced, whatever, That's irrelevant. You still got to have those conversations. And to be honest with you, if Slot was sacked at some stage, mid-season, the recruitment process shouldn't just be, well, there's 2 managers available, it has to be one of them. So maybe there would be an interim, right? And if the club's in free fall anyway and you're managerless, how more damaging could it be to put Steven Gerrard there, assisted by someone with experience, maybe, a former coach or someone from the previous, there's plenty of people I can think that are retired from football that have been employed by Liverpool Football Club or have the experience. I wouldn't be against that idea. I don't think the majority of people would call for that. But if it's not a permanent appointment, it would be it's just to get us through to, the summer or whatever and take things from there. If he turns things round and fucking wins something, maybe then people go give him the fucking job. That's what happens when it comes to interim appointments and sackings out of nowhere. So, and I would support the idea, to be honest with you. I don't think Arne Slot's going to turn things around, guys. I think you're going to get a win here and a win there. I just feel like the players are not responding to him. Hello, son. And as I've said many times before, when you look at the pitch, when you watch them, there's a player, look. Sorry, I had the Sunderland game on there earlier. I thought it was still there. Do you mind? We're making a video. When I look out onto the pitch, I see 11 players. I don't see a team. Yes, we saw a more promising performance, but then, you've got to win 5 or 6 of these games in a row before people go, pressure's off. Because if you win one, and then you lose your next one, or you're not convincing, then the pressure is back at that immense pressure again. If you win one game, it doesn't reset everything, does it? And then you start again, and he's got to lose 5 games, 10 games to have that same amount of pressure. You can win a game, but you lose the next game, and you're back at square one again. So what he needs to do is he needs to, win a stretch of games, to be honest with you. So football, this is my verdict, never mind what Dave thinks. Football Insider is a dreadful website, and you would never pay attention to them, guys, right? Well, I wouldn't. You, obviously, you're your own person. I, I think this is just common sense. I think it's just common sense. Discuss, like Dave said, or like I had a conversation with Dave prior to the analysis. Discuss could be just someone sat in canteen. What we're going to do? Gerrard's free, Nah, you're all right. That's discussing, but it's made. Do you mind stop wagging your tail? It's made to sound like big discussions kind of thing, So this I wouldn't pay any attention to. This gives nothing. It doesn't make me believe anything. Now, also, equally, the email I received, you could, which I haven't been able to go over with you, but let's just say, if you use your noddle, I'm not saying anything that's in the content of that email, right? But it's obviously something to do with Steven Gerrard, right? And I would imagine if I mention it in a video about Steven Gerrard and management, that it's probably related. So if that was the case, hypothetically, then the author, you could say the same thing about the author. Well, that's not really a very difficult thing to claim, right? I like it when exclusives or anybody makes these claims exclusive, publishes an exclusive or makes claims with something that you go, well, fuck me, where's that come from? What? I remember years ago when Gary McAllister was signed by Liverpool Football Club, someone contacted me. So it would be like the mail stand, right? But it wasn't an email. It was a friend of mine in the city, in Liverpool, right? A businessman. And he said to me, you're not going to believe this. He went, Liverpool signing Gary McAllister. And I went, you're right, I'm not going to believe it. And he went, I'm fucking telling you, it's done. You can publish it as an exclusive right now, Duncan. And he gave me a little bit more of information. And I posted an exclusive that Gary McAllister was being signed by Liverpool. Bearing in mind his age at the time and everything, I felt a fucking idiot. But I trusted my friend, right? Because I know who that friend knew, right? And when I put it online, I was slaughtered. Slaughtered. But Dunk knew best because it was true. And my point here is when someone comes at you with an exclusive, goes, you ain't going to believe this. That's an exclusive, right? Suggesting that Steven Gerrard might be discussed, even if it's a passing conversation over a cup of tea, ain't an exclusive to me. Give me an exclusive that says, yeah, he's been offered the job, then we'll talk, right? So for me, the article is just common sense. The email, you could also say, despite me not going over it, that could be common sense. But it's not, I don't think it's as far-fetched as people maybe would think. Does that make sense? So let's see what happens. I'm going to leave that with you, otherwise I feel like I'm going to be waffling on for a lot longer. Hello, Remy. Okay. Remy's here, look. Remy's here. All right, mate. Yeah, thanks. Okay, he'll start barking if I keep pushing him away. If you found this video slightly, informative, please thumbs up the video. Please drop me a comment. I'd love to hear your comments on this. We know the footballing side of things is a load of shite, right? Well, I think it is. But where are you with the Gerrard thing? I think if you look at the comments, I think the overwhelming majority will say, no, thank you. I do. I think that's what it'll say. But I still want to hear it. I still want to see what you think. Covered in dog, guys. So thumbs up, comment. There's a love art under the video if you want to support my channel. I'm very transparent. Without the support of the love art from the few people that do that, I wouldn't be able to make my videos for you. Thanks to my channel members as well. In the video description, there are 3 links. One of them is a Revolut link. That's my beer kitty. So if you want to get me a beer for tomorrow, I'm gonna have Magnus tomorrow. No, I'm not telling them about your bone fund. Fuck off. They've already got to deal with one grifter. They're not having another. If you want to get me a beer, there's a Revolut link in the video description. I always give a shout out to everyone that does that in my morning briefings. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it with you. I've got a lot more for you, all right? I'll try and get those videos out for you very soon.